seen a bottom at 17 where I did add more, and the Palantir partnership was literally 2 days after this. They sold it off. So, hey, I bought more. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Market. I second bottom there, and we're riding back up. Some things to keep a lookout on is this right here. CEO David Steinberg, he reported on Thursday that this upcoming Monday, July 6th at 4:30, join our CFO, Chris Greiner, and Citi to discuss Zeta Global's evolving AI strategy and the new infrastructure shaping Zeta's long-term growth. When he put them rockets, we know it's a banger. When he put the rockets on here, we know it's going to be a banger. Now, I looked a little deeper into the article, and, you know, just sometimes you got to pay attention to the details, and a lot of other people are catching this as well. But they changed their, if you look right here, Zeta is an intelligent AI infrastructure company. They changed that because that wasn't in their past, you know, press release. It was like AI marketing company.
They want to know they own the means of production. It's not being transferred to someone else. They're not interested in some fake deploy co that somehow is deploying tokens that transfers the alpha to a third party. And the jig is up. And so we have to figure out a way.
The jig is up. Shout out Drake. Shout out Drizzy. He said the jig is up.
Our products are agnostic. We now sell a product to customers that allows you to switch from model to model and we're completely agnostic. But we need to rebuild trust. And that trust is going to happen where everyone gets to ask and answer basic questions. Who owns the data? Where is it cached? Are the prompts secure? Is this being transferred to you? Are you being okay? If it was so valuable, let's say I can make you $1 billion right tomorrow. Wouldn't I say I'll make you $1 billion and I want 30%? Why are they charging for tokens if it's so valuable?
What's up, fam? Welcome back to JRUS TV. If you're new to my channel, hit that like, comment, subscribe button. We cover all things business, investing, self-improvement content, and AI. So that's something you're interested in? Stay around, watch a couple videos, man. Return to my channel. Appreciate you. We about to get into the stock portfolio review today. A lot of different things been happening in the market this week. We had a little sell-off. And some data that came out. So we're gonna get into that. Just go ahead and start off with the fear and greed index right here. We're at fear. I think last video I uploaded, we were closer in like extreme fear. So we're kind of heading towards that neutral, but not there just yet. As far as the VIX for this week, we were down about 14%, 13.5%. Just on a day that Thursday is, today is Friday, so the markets are closed. We're down about 5%. Major things that happened in this week was significant periods for the market, marked by cooling labor data, easing geopolitical tensions, and the holiday shortened trading week. The Dow hit over 52,000. So the key events, week jobs report. So the June employment report, which released on Thursday, showed non-farm payrolls increased by 57,000, well below expected. It was 115,000, jobs supposed to be expected, but only, 57,000. So that's bullish in the sense of we might get more rate cuts. The unemployment rate unexpectedly dropped to 4.2%. So that maybe means more data to support rate cuts. It says Alphabet replaced the Dow, replacing Verizon. Markets were, I don't know how to say, wowed by reports of a ceasefire and renewed diplomatic talks between the U.S. and Iran. So normalized oil shipping. So that's starting to still need normalized. Nike did have their earnings, wasn't too good, but I think it did get a little bounce after it sold off. Brent oil is still near 71, so that's still pretty good. So that's seems like that's starting to wrap up as far as the geopolitical stuff. Probably still a little bit more turbulence, but as of right now, kind of past that when it comes to the markets. So for the stock portfolio on the week, we actually still flat. We had 1% on the week, which I thought I would be down more because we did have this big spike up to the last day of June, as we saw a big rotation from semis to software again. We saw a pretty big rotation from semis to software. So the software positions in here, this past week, we ran up. Zeta ran up 17% this week. And then this software and this consumer cyclical plays ran up as well. So like ELF ran up this week too, 17% on this past week, up almost 50% on the month. So we're starting to see some rotation, I think, versus like your AMD, your AI trade. It's flat. It's flat. And it actually did hit an all-time high this week as well too. But once Meta put this report out about agentic AI usage slowing down and SX capacity when it comes to data center and compute, the market sold that off out of fears. On the month, we are down about 6% on the month. 3 months, we still up. Year to date, 30%. All time, we're up 101%. So yeah, this is pretty much what sold off the major headline this past week. So Zuckerberg's AI agent comments spark brief stock sell-off. During a July 2nd town hall, Zuckerberg noted the slower progress of autonomous AI agents industry-wide, and Meta's 2026 reorganization hasn't fully paid off yet, prompting sharp drops in AI infrastructure stocks. So Applied something down 17%. Other things were down. Meta's chief AI officer Alexander Wang clarified the comments apply broadly, not to just Meta, and teasing upcoming improvements like the Muse Spark update and the watermelon model rivaling top benchmarks. So yeah, here's some more commentary here. Pretty much what he said. There's just a couple different quotes that came out, but our SemiAnalysis came out and said this Meta overcapacity and market reaction with Nebius and others. We believe Meta data center and compute will accelerate. CapEx in 2027 will be shockingly high. Recent global crash, especially in the photonics sector, was stupid, off misleading narratives of Meta dropping out of the AI race to sell excess compute, when in fact things are likely to accelerate for Meta, catching up to GPT 5.5. I'm personally expecting a sharp V recovery, especially with the names that crashed 50% plus from this narrative. So two sides. The street, they getting scared because Meta's saying they have excess compute, and we're supposed to be in a supply constraint economy right now for the AI revolution. So that definitely sparked a lot of fears, and some stocks sold off. Especially your AI stocks, your AMD, your Nebius definitely sold off regarding to what I'm holding on Thursday. But what I did, I added more Nebius. Nebius fell down, got tore up. Nebius fell down like 16%. Nebius fell down like 16%, and I added some more in that low 200 because that's where prices were not too long ago. You feel me? On my Blossom profile right there, I bought Nebius, So I bought more Nebius because it was a stupid reaction, and just to show y'all like how the stock performed, it went down. Yeah, it was down 13% this week. We're down 16% on the month, but it was definitely that sharp decline this week. He was hitting pretty much new all-time highs, and that report Meta came out and just sold it off pretty bad. And I'm buying. Shoot, thank you. I'll take it. I definitely will take it. I don't just take this with a grain of salt because we're still in a compute constrained environment right now. Definitely have to keep your eyes open for what Mark is saying, because he could be seeing something that we're not seeing. But just based off CapEx spend in last quarter's projections, I kind of agree with SemiAnalysis here that it was blown out of proportion, and a V recovery. People are trying to compare this to that DeepSeek moment, so it could be something like that. But the businesses that I'm invested in did not change at all, and they didn't put any reports out that suggest otherwise. So we're going to continue with the strategy. We're going to continue with our regular routine strategy. Now. Let's go to the next topic. Mr. Zeta. I think Zeta has a big week coming ahead. On the week, we're up 17%. On the month, we're down 11% after that big rotation we saw. About a month ago where it ran up to 25, people rotating the software, and then it seemed like they sold it all back off and went back in the semis. I think we've seen a bottom at 17 where I did add more, and the Palantir partnership was literally 2 days after this, and they sold it off. So, hey, I bought more. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Market. I second bottom there, and we're riding back up. Some things to keep a lookout on is this right here. CEO David Steinberg, he reported on Thursday that this upcoming Monday, July 6th at 4:30, join our CFO, Chris Greiner, and Citi to discuss Zeta Global's evolving AI strategy and the new infrastructure shaping Zeta's long-term growth. When he put them rockets, we know it's a banger. When he put the rockets on here, we know it's going to be a banger. Now, I looked a little deeper into the article, and just sometimes you got to pay attention to the details, and a lot of other people are catching this as well. But they changed if you look right here, Zeta is an intelligent AI infrastructure company. They changed that because that wasn't in their past, press release. It was like AI marketing company. Now it's saying intelligent AI infrastructure company, helping enterprises transform proprietary data into enterprise intelligence. Okay. Look at some of the key points. Now, he did release a quick little interview with CNBC as well. So I do want to highlight some of that for you all real quick. Actually, I could see that.
Well, it's interesting you point right to marketing because I think the way we're starting to think about our business, and we're gonna be laying this out next week, John, is marketing is just the first application of our data and our artificial intelligence. Our long-term goal is really to build a full operating system based on Athena. And if you look at the partnership between Palantir and Zeta, this is the big step in that move where we can begin to take our data, which will now be fully re-architected on top of Foundry, which is their platform. Yep. It's going to speed everything up. It's going to allow us to access our clients' data even more rapidly. But most importantly, it's going to allow us to expand from just marketing. So marketing will obviously be an important use case. But as we move into business intelligence and business enablement, the Palantir relationship is going to be mission critical to that.
So essentially, what he's saying is that when they said they're building their AI intelligent infrastructure company now, I've been seeing that word a lot, infrastructure. And that's big right now. And I'm glad they did that because they're transitioning from just a marketing MarTech company to a AI infrastructure company that's built on the 4th largest data set in the world right now. Behind your Meta, your Google, and like your Amazon. They have the largest data set, first proprietary data set. So it's not like the cookies you see on the browser. This is first party intentional data. So they know their customer, they know the trends, when they might buy, what time they might buy, how often they buy. They know the details. A lot of companies don't have this, and data is the gold, the new gold. Data is the new oil in this AI infrastructure, this AI revolution. Data is. If you have data, good data, you can build and create a moat around that. And that is what Zeta has done. And now they're partnering with Palantir. To build on top of Foundry, which is Palantir's product. If you don't know, I'm an investor in Palantir as well. I got in the 20s and 30s about a year or two ago. And I've seen that massive run up, and they're still executing at a high level. Trimmed a little bit, but it's still a like 9-10% of my portfolio right now. So seeing both of these worlds collide, Zeta and Palantir together, it brings the thesis together even more. I'll probably drop another in-depth Zeta thesis video. I might cook it up this weekend and post it by like next week, because I'll probably do it after they have that call, because it's changing. It's definitely changing, and just want to get my thoughts out a little better. But they're building on top of Foundry, which is Palantir's product, which Palantir already has. Is they're already in the government. They have the top clearance level for government work. Only like 2 or 3 companies have that. Palantir is one of them, to do mission critical work, and they already have a ton of customers, a ton of different clients already trust Palantir with their data. So now Zeta's partnered with them. All they have to do is say, hey, we partner with Zeta. They've been vetted already. Work with them. They have this data. We're using our data. Zeta has the consumer data and Palantir has the operational data. Let's combine these together and let's get some good outcome. And I think that's what David Steinberg, the CEO, was going to announce next week. Definitely more in detail around the Palantir partnership for sure. Maybe a new client they onboarded, or maybe some examples, maybe some testimonials. I don't know, but they cooking up. And I loved management team that cook up and continue to make new partnerships, continue to grow the business. You know, that's why I'm very bullish on Zeta Global right now. Now, let's get into Palantir. They just went viral. All this plays in together, guys. All this plays in together. Palantir just went viral over the past week, couple of days, because he spilled the real as far as, you know, your Anthropics, your ChatGPTs, your Geminis, what they were doing. What technical customers want is control over their compute, their models, and their data stack, and their alpha. They want to know they own the means of production and it's not being transferred to someone else. Who owns the data, or is it secure? Let's take a little listen to this and what Alex Karp had to say.
What aligns me with NVIDIA, and I think is what the technical customers want, which is control over their compute, their models, their data stack, and their alpha. They want to know they own the means of production. It's not being transferred to someone else. They're not interested in some fake deploy co that somehow is deploying tokens that transfers the alpha to a third party. And the jig is up. And so we have to figure out a way.
The jig is up. Shout out Drake. Shout out Drizzy. He said the jig is up.
Our products are agnostic. We now sell a product to customers that allows you to switch from model to model, and we're completely agnostic. But we need to rebuild trust. And that trust is going to happen where everyone gets to ask and answer basic questions. Who owns the data? Where is it cached? Are the prompts secure? Is this being transferred to you? Are you being okay? If it was so valuable, let's say I can make you $1 billion right tomorrow. Wouldn't I say, I'll make you $1 billion and I want 30%? Why are they charging for tokens if it's so valuable?
So then, Alex, if the key, from what I'm hearing you say, is a secure, American-born, open source model, how quickly can your model come?
And they also announced a partnership with NVIDIA this past week as well, relating to this issue of building a more sovereign AI infrastructure ecosystem. You know, so basically when all these large language models, which I think we're leaning more towards open sourced. So like your closed models, like your AI frontier, like your ChatGPT, your your Anthropic, to more open sourced, where it will be a lot of different large language models, you know, and that's what keeps this industry alive. But there's a lot of data rails and things like that needs to be put in place. Infrastructure needs to be in place. The roads, the security, all that needs to be put in place first before we get to that level. And this is what Palantir and NVIDIA, right, this new deal is talking about. And also is bullish for Nebius because open source is good for them. And also Zeta, they're playing into the infrastructure as well, trying to get into that business intelligence business infrastructure.
Compete with the frontier AI
well, no,
models in
what
terms
I'm
of
saying
reasoning
is
and agentic AI tasks.
Okay, what I am claiming, obviously slightly true, but slightly self-centered, is it's the model plus an application layer plus compute. It is really all three. So in our jargon, It's the value, the reason, okay, just look at our financials. The reason why everyone is chillaxing with bad financials and growth while losing money is the client, it refuses to pay the true cost. The two places that actually make money, like profit, free cash flow, are our application layer called ontology and compute. Okay, what I am not just claiming, we can take an open model and in the classified or non-classified context, get it to the point of a frontier model. But A, you control the weights. So what is the true cost? Not just what you're paying. The true cost is not just, is what you make minus what you lose, meaning the value of your business. So we
just said they're thinking about creating their own model, you know, but on good infrastructure.
get the frontier application to be exactly the same as a frontier model without the risk of transferring the alpha of your business to another. By the way, you could do this with a frontier closed model too, but then the clients have to be able to ask and answer very basic questions. Are you keeping the data? Are you going to enter our business? What do you, in the classified context, when the Department of War goes to you and says, I need this application, do they get to control the weights to do it? Or do you get to control the weights? Are we really going to outsource the battlefield of this country to the consensus view in Silicon Valley? That is effing insane.
You heard it there. Here's some more context regarding this as well. Lowell Bratton from The Information. Karp told me that with Palantir's help, some of his company, U.S. governments, recently switched to using open source models developed by NVIDIA from proprietary models developed by the likes of Anthropic. He said he wasn't permitted to disclose what agencies or units he was referring to his other commitments imply the Department of Defense was at least testing NVIDIA's model. Karp told me he expects every one of Palantir's clients, including commercial ones, to leverage open source model as soon as they see it as being a party with proprietary ones. He said since the new engine from Palantir to improve Memetron models was announced, his phone has been blowing up with calls from interested customers. Since the new engine from Palantir to improve Memetron, I think that's their LLM. Call me crazy and I might be totally wrong, this gentleman says, but this feels to me like a new axis of power is forming around NVIDIA, Palantir, and neoclouds like Nebius. Chips, ontology, open models, and inference. Complete sovereign AI stack, budget-friendly and secure. And if you look at my last video I posted, I'm betting big on these stocks. This is where I cover this. Y'all hear me talk about this. The chips, the open models, the inference, and now the ontology, which is Palantir, which is the software infrastructure layer. With every headline like this, with every headline like this, I see less Nebius x Anthropic and more Nebius x Palantir. Sovereign AI application layer on sovereign AI compute infrastructure. We've seen a major shift here. This is breaking. This is just happening. This is just happening, guys. And not saying I predicted this, but I positioned myself well to where something like this did happen. I would still be covered in the back end. So if they're going more open source, that's bullish for Nebius, that's bullish for AMD, and that's still bullish for Zeta. Because they all want efficiency as well, cost effectiveness. And Amit commented and said 100% agree. If the open source models win and take market share from frontier models, the biggest winners are NVIDIA, Palantir, Nebius, and AMD. They always forget AMD. They still sleeping on AMD. But Nebius for distributed compute, NVIDIA for selling the GPUs on premium, and reoccurring revenue from their NeoCloud business, legacy business continue to scale. Palantir for the application layer to make sense of any LLM, which will be governed within a secure environment for large enterprise. Now, I know Palantir can be a little complicated as well. Essentially, you have a large language model like a Chat GTP, and they want to work with the government in order for and the government's over here. Now, in order for them to work with the government, they have to go through Palantir, which is the middleman. They're the infrastructure. Palantir is the infrastructure. They orchestrate everything. They can set the limits on OpenAI's token consumption, so the government enterprise won't run up the bill or protect their data. All this type of stuff. Palantir is the middleman to the government, to enterprise. But now Palantir and them is like, they just want tokens. Like, they just trying to price gouge you essentially. So why don't we build our own sovereign AI? We build our own everything. Nvidia, Palantir, Nebius, Zeta is going to be in that infrastructure as well, I believe, with business intelligence, and then sell it to ourselves. You know, so just putting some ideas out there. Putting some ideas. Now, it is a piece of Nvidia news too that I want to add here as well. So Nvidia just announced some new news as well. According to Bloomberg, Nvidia is looking to expand access to its leading AI hardware by granting token credits to developers in exchange for a share of their future sales. So what Chris Patel just said, Nvidia just declared war on the hyperscalers. Don't buy my chips? Okay, cool. I'll fund your competitors. Nvidia is going in the offense. He said this was expected. No way Jensen was going to fight. So they're basically saying, look, we're going to partner with the neo clouds or with the next hyperscalers. Personally, your Nebius, because I'm an Nebius investor and I like to talk about companies I invested in. But they're saying, okay, cool. We're going to partner with the neo clouds, the hyperscalers, and we're going to provide them with compute. We're going to partner with the hyperscalers, with the next hyperscalers, what I think Nebius is. We're going to provide them token credits, compute in exchange for the inference revenue, and let's make a deal there. So this is going to be interesting. Things are playing out quite well. I'm still bullish on the portfolio. Thesis has not changed. Software maybe taking this lead this back half of this year. I don't know just yet. I would love all my stocks to charge, but from looking at it, it's looking like, your AI play may be slowing down a little bit if we get in more into software, and Meta pop on that news too, but that's sold off completely. So we're going to see. Still long Zeta. That's the main company I'll probably be focused on these next couple of weeks as more information is coming in and earnings season is coming around. Stay tuned for that Monday announcement. We'll be covering it. Excited to see. Hope y'all stacked up on y'all shares. This could be the last time we see under 20, even though we've been saying that many times, but this one could be it. We'll see. JRuss TV, we out.